webinar from the Open Group, which today is being brought to us by Soft Team. We have from Soft Team Philippe Desfray, who will be speaking to us. Before over to Philippe, I'd just like to go over a few housekeeping issues to keep today's event moving forward smoothly. Firstly, with regards to questions, if you'd like to ask a question to Philippe, then probably the best way to do that is to write your question into the text QA facility. If you do a question in there, can I ask you to address it to all participants, that everyone gets to see the questions that are being asked. The intention is to try and answer as many questions at the end of Philippe's presentation today. If you'd like to share a comment or have a conversation with a fellow attendee, then the way to do that is to use the text chat facility. Now, it is being fully recorded, so if for any reason you have to leave early, experience any local technical difficulties, I know that sometimes audio can be problematical around the globe, that everyone who has registered for today's event will get an email with an appropriate link where they can access that recording, and that will be coming out tomorrow. So, you're ready? Can I ask you to start your presentation?
Thanks, Simon. So, welcome to this webinar hosted by the Open Group, and thank you for attending. So, we have now 3 major modeling standards that be used for enterprise architecture modeling, namely ArchiMate, UML, and BPMN. So, which one should we be using? We combine them, how, and for which purposes and benefits? Can further, and what are tooling support? These are the subjects that will be presented in this webinar. So let me first present myself and my company. I'm Philippe Desfray, VP for R&D at Soft Team Modeliosoft. I am an original contributor to the UML standard since the beginning, 1996. I'm working since a very long time in the modeling techniques area. So the consulting company, which is more than 1,000 consultants, and within its capacity there is a TOGAF training and consulting, and Soft Team exists since 1989, and Soft Team is Open Group and OMG member. Modeliosoft is a subsidiary company of Soft Team and is editor of the Modelio modeling tool, previously Object-Hearing, which has been launched in 1990. And it supports limitless modeling, limitless in terms of modeling scope, repository distribution, number of users, model exploitations, and so on. So let's to our subject. I already have published with the Soft Team consulting team 2 books regarding TOGAF, one in French, the other in English, which is Modeling Enterprise Architecture with TOGAF using UML and BPMN. At that time, ArchiMate was not in the scope. And, it shows how to model TOGAF using the standards. So the goal is to have a modeling support that helps cover the entire enterprise architecture scope, which is the architecture domains, business, application, technology, and also the vision domain. Vision, business, application, and technology are supported by ArchiMate. Using UML and BPMN helps in providing details, in particular to the business architecture domain, application architecture domain, and technology architecture domain. BPMN is useful for business and application, mostly for business application domain, and UML can be useful for all 3 modeling domains. It provides a coarse-grained modeling capacity, whereas details can be provided using BPMN and UML. this helps having a great coverage of the enterprise architecture modeling scope. So what are the advantages of combining those modeling standards? So first one is that we use three widely used modeling standards. This means that many people are aware of those modeling techniques, and many tools exist supporting those techniques. ArchiMate, dedicated to enterprise architecture, it is now a mature language. Its current version is 3.0, and the course level of granularity and is flexible. So being a course granularity can be seen as an advantage in a sense that you can provide a quick and easy way to support enterprise architecture modeling. Getting to the details, then UML and BPMN can provide advantages. So UML provide a very great level of details, also additional modeling techniques. For example, use case modeling can be useful for enterprise architecture modeling. Thomas mentions use case several times in the standard. You also do detailed data modeling using UML and go further from where ArchiMate is. And so you can do detailed architectural modeling and have links and traceability to software application modeling. BPMN provides a complete business process modeling support. The advantages of combined usage are that you get a broad modeling scope with a complete coverage of enterprise architecture and IT modeling. We have complete traceability and impact analysis using those combined modeling techniques. We can have a comprehensive, coherent enterprise architecture repository that enables enterprise continuum. So let's get to an example here. Here at the left side we have ArchiMate business objects, and this is what ArchiMate supports. So you have a coarse granularity modeling support in that you see business objects and you see relationships between those objects. If you want to get to more details, then you move on the right side to UML class diagrams. Here you have a more detailed model where you have attributes, you have cardinalities, roles, and so on the model. You can even get further, for example, to see the possible state of a business object. For example, an order can be pending, in progress, rejected, accepted, and you have a life cycle in those business states, and this will be provided by UML. And you can manage this in order to have traceability and correspondence between those two aspects of the same. Indeed, it's the same model behind. Another is the ArchiMate plus BPMN. On the side, you have a high-level model of a process, the reserve trip business process. So you can see here that it is related to goals. It is you have business actors allocated to the process. You have events and so on. And when you want to get in details to express how this process is running inside, then to the right side you have a BPMN process modeling details, where you have all the steps, the tasks that are within the process. You have those swim lanes expressing which actor does what, which task is done by which actor, and here you you want to see the same actor on the right side than those that you have on the left side. For example, the client is an actor that we can see on the left side, and we see here that there is a client swim lane where we see the different tasks that this actor is doing. So how can this be supported by a tool? Let's see an example here. So here we are in a tool called Modelio. And Modelio lets you organize its various views into viewpoints. For example, vision, business, organization, processes, applications, or technical infrastructure. You can edit a viewpoint to display all views. We drill down to the main concept view, and this view shows the different business objects as well as the relations between them. We are now going to refine this view into a UML class diagram to explain business objects in detail. First, create a UML package and a class diagram where to create the UML element. So create that package, and let's start the refinement wizard from the diagram in order to populate it with the elements stemming from the ArchiMate model. All I do is to drag and drop the ArchiMate view main concept into the wizard and to get the full list of elements present in the view. In that list, I can select the elements to refine and choose the kind of element I want to refine them into. For example, Modelio suggests to refine business objects into either UML classes or interfaces, or and composition links into UML associations. I can even specify the name of the created UML element. Upon validation, all the selected business objects are refined into UML objects and unmasked in the class diagram. The position of the elements is preserved. UML properties to the new elements. For example, a property ref and another property price that will type float. Refinement wizard automatically adds a refine link between those two elements. This link can be masked in a diagram. So here we see the trip UML class that defines the ArchiMate trip business object. Also, as we have seen, defines the life cycle of data. Let's go to the order class as seen on the slide, and here we create a state machine, and we can use this diagram when we will do business process modeling. So the result is also triggered as soon as an ArchiMate element is dropped in a UML diagram to convert it into a UML element. when I drag and drop the business object flight, the class diagram, the refinement wizard pops up and suggests I refine the business object into a UML class. Then lead the creation by adding properties and associations to the new class. So here you see obvious refinement rules, business objects and UML class. There can be other examples of refinements. For example, we may want to refine a business collaboration into use case diagram. So several business actors, I refine them into UML actors, and I can use those actors to insert them in the use case diagram by drag and dropping them into the diagram. So we do usual use case modeling task. Continue on this. And as announced earlier in this demo, we are now going to describe a business process in detail thanks to the BPMN notation. We will technique to run the refinement wizard from an ArchiMate process, and Modelio suggests to create a BPMN view for that process. In order to create lanes, I need to drag and drop the actors into the BPMN diagram. Each lane is identified by the actor it was created from. So here that the actors that we have here, your actors, are stemming from the ArchiMate actors that we have defined earlier. Create a few tasks and link them together. You need to create data object. So this is in the BPMN diagram. Let's take the class order here with a BPMN data object, and I can assign it a state among all those defined in the UML state machine. And go on doing BPMN modeling, but here we have seen the traceability and refinement between those elements. There are several use cases for using the ArchiMate combined with UML and BPMN. So one use case is enterprise architecture and technical architecture. There is a white paper on the open group site on using ArchiMate plus UML that focuses on this kind of use case. for enterprise architecture, and UML for technical architecture. You can also do detailed business process modeling. You can do, for example, a process map, which is a high-level view of business processes, and use BPMN for detailed business process modeling. Modeling can also be done at whatever level, conceptual, logical, physical, between ArchiMate and UML. We also make reverse engineering. That is, for example, you have a SQL database. You can reverse it, get a UML model, and that UML model get a view at the ArchiMate level. That you get business objects from what already exists in your database. You can also do use case modeling, as we have seen before, in order to detail business collaboration. Model use cases for application components. As you can do state machine modeling in order to specify the different states of a business object. So just a few of the cases that you can have to combine ArchiMate, UML, and BPMN. As we have seen, we have a mapping between UML, ArchiMate, and BPMN, and any model element from any meta model can refine any other model element. That is the rule behind this mechanism. Here in the example, the client UML class has a refined dependency to the ArchiMate client business object. So what can be mapped between those standards? There are obvious mappings. For example, a business actor can be mapped to a UML actor. ArchiMate business object can be mapped to a UML business class. And there are also use-defined mapping. Mapping something to a use case is less obvious. You can map a business collaboration to a use case. And the cases where no mapping seems to be useful. For example, an ArchiMate capacity does not need a priori to be mapped to any more detailed model element in UML or BPMN standard. And so wizards can help to do that. They can recall out and automate obvious mappings and help the user to do his own user-defined mapping. This is the kind of GUI you have already seen within a tool. So do we exploit those mapping? Those mapping can be exploited for traceability management purpose. For example, using traceability editors or making traceability reports, having matrices subject. You also do impact analysis. For example, if you change something in the ArchiMate high-level enterprise architecture model, traceability impact analysis can help you know which impact will happen, for example, on a more technical detailed view done in UML. And you can, if you want, do a combined documentation generation. If you want to get a documentation that combines, say, high-level business process and detailed business process, one side in ArchiMate, the other side in BPMN, this can also be done. So what we can do on these aspects. So provide various kinds of matrices and forms to let you enter information on ArchiMate elements. Process matrix is a view that is as every view automatically synchronized with other views. If I modify a property of the process reserve trip in the form, the change will be displayed in the process matrix. So here, script has now a duration of 10 days. So it is a way to handle matrices. Have application matrices, can be useful for application map purposes, and this will be applications and their properties. We have flow matrix that shows all the flows defined between applications in the repository. Last, there is a ArchiMate nomenclature matrix, presents a table of all the ArchiMate elements with description as well as the UML elements that refine them. Each architecture matrix is configured to display specific kinds of elements and specific kinds of viewpoints. So here is business objects and so on. In addition to matrices, Modelio comes with a link editor. And find Modelio's GUI to put the focus on this view. Like the goal, reservation via internet, I can several levels upstream or downstream from the selected element. This points out the impact an element has on the other elements on the project. In this example, we can deduce that modifying this goal would impact the sales business function and the IS access via website requirement, and even UML elements such as those two use cases and the component. Also use this view to create a link between two elements by drag and dropping elements from the model browser. For drag and drop another goal in here, model suggests a variety of links to create between both elements, including the refine link indicating the refinement of an element by another. Implementation, Modelio provides a services to generate documents from a project. For example, you can generate a document directly from the organization viewpoint. Which is a word. Where you helps that have been designed here. You can also combine documents by generating several kinds of elements. For example, here I have designed a book that is the whole set of ArchiMate viewpoints, the dictionary, the requirement description, UML elements, such as class diagram and BPMN detailed process. So document, and here we have an ArchiMate view. More views and description in the document. So here we have a BPMN view of this business process. Also offers a round-trip feature that lets you retrieve in the project the changes made in the Word document. another aspect of ArchiMate and UML is in customizing the modeling approach. It's very frequent to have an adapted enterprise architecture modeling meta model. Classic approaches for traditional enterprise architecture modeling tools having generic support do provide that. You adapt the meta model for any specific companies and environment. So you adapt it to the context, to the expertise and norms. And a large number of enterprise architecture projects have their own enterprise architecture modeling meta model. So now we have the opportunity of having standard modeling languages that we have on the shelf solutions. The adaptation effort is much lighter. We just have to define some specificities by using off-the-shelf elements, adding new specificity or hiding parts that are not relevant for our needs. And the profile technique is the UML ArchiMate shared extension mechanisms. This is a mechanism for extending standard meta classes. It's lightweight, flexible, and dynamic, meaning that you can apply a profile on an existing model, even if during the course of a project you have new extensions and adaptations. Let's see how it works and how it can be combined, applied to ArchiMate. Now extend the notion of actor to obtain a new representation for organization units. So in ArchiMate, an actor can be used to define also organization units. So if you want to be more specific, create a new stereotype which name organization unit, associate icons in order to make graphical distinctions between usual ArchiMate actors and organization units, but just define. So here is the icon. And let's find a view in which this actor appears. Modify its graphic representation. We see the icon. We go show it in a bigger way. Here we show an organization unit. It is an actor, but we have been more specific on this concept. Then the new stereotypes to other actors representing organization units. President is an organization unit to be represented as such. Here is a simple way by which we can customize ArchiMate and extend it with exactly the same mechanisms as the UML profile. So we've seen here the coexistence of three native meta models, UML, BPMN, and ArchiMate. Alternative approaches to have a combined standard support. There exists a UML profile for ArchiMate. It's an OMG standard made in coordination with the open group. The stage is that it enables the ArchiMate support by UML tools, but the drawback is that it does not provide a good graphical support of ArchiMate. It does provide a complete support. For example, the grouping concept is not quite well supported. It does not provide a semantic accurate support, and it needs additional support to have appropriate wizards and traceability. But it's a lightweight solution. The other approach has been in the book presented before, by defining UML profile for TOGAF BPMN. This profile sticks to the TOGAF meta model and provides a way to model enterprise architecture. The advantage is that it has a complete, consistent support, which natively does not need mapping, but it is not ArchiMate and has not the advantages of ArchiMate. These are several approaches that can be used for this. So, talking of complete coverage of enterprise architecture, you have seen this slide before, but the change here is that we want to have a complete support at vision level. That is complete support for requirement analysis, goals, risk, and having a tooling related to this. So as we know, ArchiMate provides a coarse-grained support for this. But when we do a requirement analysis, we need to properties, to requirements, and other aspects, same things for goals and so on. And this can be done by coupling ArchiMate to a requirement analysis tool. So what is done in the Modelio tool is the support of vision, requirements, goals, terms, business rules, risks, is sorted and integrated into the tool. That is, a requirement or a goal is a model element just like a business object or UML class. It's supported through graphical means, spreadsheet editors, and dedicated forms. It is with the models, so UML, BPMN, ArchiMate, for traceability and impact analysis. Also support extraction from Word or OpenOffice documents, can be coupled with Excel and other external tools, provides documentation generation and property settings to support specific approaches for example, requirement analysis. An example on how this can be supported. To achieve editors that list the goals, I just need to double-click on the container, the tab to focus on a specific goal in a form, the properties that I enter and detail here. For example, I can specify a unit of measurement, a value to reach, or the current value. Very customized. You can easily specify drop-down lists, boxes, calendars, add or remove columns, just the way you would do using Microsoft Excel. Clear that a detailed goal is equivalent to ArchiMate goal. If I turn the ArchiMate goal reservation via the internet into reservation via the web, the detailed goal is also renamed in the spreadsheet view, graphic view, without any manual intervention. We have seen what we can have as benefits, and there are already tools supporting this. For example, Modelio, ArchiMate Architect. It has the usual modeling capacities one should expect, which are ArchiMate modeling, done generation, model exchange using the standard ArchiMate XML, and customization support. It has high-end capacities such as spreadsheet and matrices editors, methodical support, viewpoints, process map, application maps, and so on, size document generation, traceability management, group and version management support. And it also has exclusive capacities that integrated native UML and BPMN models, mapping management between the standards, integrated requirement analysis support and vision support, goals and so on, comprehensive traceability and impact analysis, multi-project organization federations, portfolio management, sales web tool administration, with requirement analysis support. It has an open source distribution that we found in modelio.org, where you can get the open source support of ArchiMate, UML, and BPMN. And there is a Modelio Soft solution, which provides enterprise solutions such as work group, support the vision, requirement analysis, document generation, matrices, process maps, and so on, meeting management, project, distributed repositories, portfolio management, and also a tool called Modelio Studio that supports modeling extension and customization. This can be seen on modeliosoft.com. It has been released yesterday, so it's already available. So for attention, and now if you have a reaction or questions.
Excellent, thank you very much. Yes, we have plenty of questions in the TechQA facility. What I'm going to just do, Philippe, is just work my way through these, and we've got about 20 minutes, so we should get plenty of questions in. So just start from top to bottom, and I'm going to say, first of all, question, can impact analysis reach across all three modeling tools or languages?
Yes. The notion of dependencies is orthogonal to those different kind of elements. So you can have impact analysis between anything and anything, between attribute and a business object and a requirement and whatever.
Okay. A question from Jay. Is there an overlap between UML sequence model and BPM swim lane?
Depends what we call overlap. There is an overlap on what can be expressed. So you have the choice to use one or one other modeling technique. And as a bigger overlap, you have activity diagrams within UML which are very close to BPMN modeling. It's up to the modeler to decide what is the best modeling techniques that he wants to use on his context. Okay.
Mars, when refinement is used to create UML diagrams from an ArchiMate diagram, does refinement create new UML objects? Are they linked to the ArchiMate diagram? He goes on to say, if so, do they share the same metadata values, for example?
Having refinement between two diagrams is implemented by a fact that there is a refinement link between those diagrams, and that's all. There is no extra and material behind that, and so then it will be used and exploit for impact analysis and for traceability purposes to know that we want to adapt those elements to those elements. So you can have refinement between diagrams and also refinements between detailed model elements that are present in the diagrams.
Kirk asking, if an actor is added to BPMN, how you auto-update actors in the original ArchiMate diagram?
By default, there is no auto-update mechanisms because this will be a highly disturbing approach for the modeler. Here, this is a decision of the modeler to map a refined element to a higher level element. And by design, we have we didn't implement an auto update because this would be confusing. But there is an auto update regarding the vision view, because here we can at 100% state that a requirement using a requirement analysis view can be updated to a mapped requirement within ArchiMate.
Okay. Why map business object with UML class and data object with UML class instead? It says, what's the reason behind this?
It depends. You can use class diagram at every level of modeling. You can do a conceptual model using UML classes, but is more at the business architecture level, for example, and use it at a more detailed level, such as in application architecture domain level, and map the two at that level. So it's up to you. UML doesn't specify at which level you are, opposed to ArchiMate, and it's up to you to use the UML at the level of interest that you have. You want to have bigger levels of details on conceptual level. You may want to use attributes to provide cardinalities and roles on models at a very high level of modeling. So it's again, it's up to the designer to decide.
Question here, can Mondelio import ArchiMate files from other tools, Archie or BizDesign?
Yeah, Modelio, Modelsoft and Softeam are participating to the ArchiMate interchange effort within the open group. And we've been implementing the latest interchange version for ArchiMate 3.0. And we have test and checked the change with some of those tools, such as Archi and other tools participating to this, and so it's supported. The tool is by default supported also by connection from the open group.
Question from Jan: does Modelio provide a unique repository that can be shared with different users?
There is so all those models are stored in a unique repository. The repository can be shared with different users. There can also be many distributed repositories that be interlinked and shared by different users or be in federated organizations.
Sanjay asks, are the current standards sufficient for modeling big data architecture modeling projects?
In such a case, I think we need the detailed capacities of UML to do so. Also, for example, if you take Modelio, Modelio supports additional extensions to support database modeling, database reverse engineering in SQL. So, and this is used by large companies for such an approach. And ArchiMate to all those environments. By default, we provide those extended capacities to ArchiMate.
Thank you. Question from Ed. Given that each modeling language is continually evolving without any coordination with other modeling languages, how to ensure that old models are not broken and continue to reap the benefits of traceability and impact analysis across domains?
This is a real issue, and my best response is that it is our job, I mean the tool implementer's job, to ensure that. And for example, if you use UML and BPMN, those are two separate standards. There is no interconnection with them in the OMG standards. All they are from the same standardization organization. They are separated, but they support their integration between UML and BPMN since 5 years already, with evolution from both sides. And we make sure that the interconnection are not broken by that.
Thank you. A couple of people asking about the ability to import from Visio. Is that capable?
So Visio is not a formal modeling tool. So importing from Visio will require specific interpretation and adaptation, sometimes on a case-by-case basis, but this is feasible. Anything having an export format such as an Excel file or Excel stuff can be imported into Visio.
Thanks. This process of refinement sounds as if it's a version of MDA, so that's model-driven architecture. Does the model support any MDA techniques as templates to convert automatically high-level models in lower-level models as physical?
All this is meta modeling stuff. By doing this, somehow we create we can say that we have a free meta model, UML, BPMN, and ArchiMate, and we can say that the addition of those free meta models is a bigger meta model, and from that we can use all the MDA stuff, in particular for model transformation purposes. For example, you have seen here document generation. Document generation is a specific case of model transformation to go from UML plus ArchiMate plus BPMN to, for example, MS Word.
Thank you. Question here from Chris. Could you share any further details or examples on the links between the different objects across 3 languages?
Yes, we can share it. And what I intend to do is to write a white paper that will be submitted to the open group in order to present this and to show more details. But also people can contact us, and we will share this by all means.
That's great. Tom asks, what sort of training materials are available? So he says video, books, courses, etc.
There are training that is provided by Modeliosoft regarding Modelio, regarding modeling techniques, regarding TOGAF. We also provide certification training for TOGAF, and we can provide training for all the staff. In addition to the training material that exists worldwide regarding the standards, and that's the interest of the standard. So the book that I have mentioned also provides an approach for enterprise architecture modeling.
How do you
There
maintain?
are also videos on YouTube regarding Modelio, and on the Modelio Soft site there are white papers, tutorials, videos, and so on.
Mike asks, how do you maintain relationships across the enterprise continuum using Modelio Soft?
This is done using the repository technique, which maintains the consistency of the repository. There are also configuration and version management support, which helps managing branches, different versions of the enterprise architecture, and so on.
Okay. Stuart asks, for the less mature EA function, and he says, for example, level 1 or 2 in CMMI context, is there a light version of ArchiMate, or do you suggest to get the EA organization started?
I'm not sure to get right the question on this aspect. The question in coupling CMMI with TOGAF and ArchiMate?
Yes.
So I have to check about this, if there is already work on this. I'm sure both of them can be combined. This is, I would say, a usual issue in combining standard, in particular standards regarding processes and approaches. So there are lots of questions like this, such as combining COBIT with TOGAF and so on. This has been to be studied specifically. I'm sure there is an answer to this.
Okay, Stuart has just said he's specifically interested in, level of maturity, EA maturity in an organisation. Does this approach best suit? So if the company's EA function is maybe at a starting point or not fully mature, is this approach still applicable, or have to spend more time actually getting the corporate EA function up to speed?
I think it can be applicable very early in the maturity curve. I think you gain maturity by practicing. So this is a help in supporting enterprise architecture. As opposed to this, I have seen many companies who use consulting in an enterprise architecture. What they got is a PowerPoint, a document, Excel file sheet, and how to manage this if you don't have a consistent repositories and a bit formal repository. Opposite, if all your work is in the repository, then you can reuse it, extract it, and exploit it in many different ways, and can share it between people and cooperate on it. And this is a very important tool for knowledge management support within companies.
Fantastic. We've walked through not all the questions. We've worked through a great deal of them. We've reached the end of our time. Philip, what I will, of course, do as a matter of course, share all the questions on the chat and QA facility with you. And I'm sure if you can take any of those outstanding ones offline. Philip, before I end today's event, are there any final points you'd just like to share with us? So
thank you to everybody for attending. I will go through the question and answer in writing. So now I think we really have a tool set. I mean conceptual tool set that will allow us to better master enterprise architecture and knowledge management on this issue. And now we have a great formal support to succeed in enterprise architecture. So thank you everybody for attending, and you can still join me and ask me some questions.
Yeah, and thank you very much for your time. And as Philip says, thank you very much everyone for joining what is the last of our webinars in 2016, and we'll see you all again in 2017. Thanks everyone.